Hey, I thought I'd jump in on here too. On this Mars or Scott Morrison going on the moon. Let's send him there. That'd be cool. So he never comes back. Donald Trump's Mars mission given $150 million boost from Scott Morrison, who's got money to burn on fucking fantasy shit. Shows as NASA shows off gold Logie. Okay. Yeah, they're probably not right there. It's all pretend. Should we look at this?
Today, it gives me great pleasure to announce that Australia is once again supporting the United States in another historic endeavour.
And I'm a dumb cunt.
We're joining NASA's campaign, Artemis campaign, to return to the moon and to go to Mars.
Well, to go to the moon and to go to Mars. Maybe focus on the moon bit, because you haven't been to the moon, mate. I don't know if you've heard. You've been living under a rock at Parliament House at Kirribilli Lodge. But yeah, you haven't been to the moon. So let's go.
The Australian government will commit $150 million over 5 years.
Did you ask anyone about it? Did you maybe consult with the nation, with the people, whether they want you to? They're busy busting your chops over the climate. How's this going to help?
To support the mission and related activities, and I expect that's just where we're going to begin. This investment through the Australian Space Agency will give Australian businesses and researchers the opportunity to bring our capabilities to NASA's Moon to Mars mission. And it will give Australia...
Wow. Like, seriously? Who? What industry you got here? I didn't know we had any industry. Most of it's offshore these days, so I don't know who's going to be building shit. What, you're going to create jobs to go to a fantasy place that you can't go to? It's a plasma.
Australian businesses the chance to compete for a place in growing international space supply chains. The Australian Space Agency will work with NASA to...
Like we're going to put supermarkets on the moon for all the moon customers. Like, you can't even get shit right here where you are. I don't know why you're worrying about travelling into space. The space between your fucking ears is alarming.
Identify how it can support a significant part of its mission. This can be developing automation systems that could support exploration of the moon.
See, you could do this. You could create jobs. They'd be hand jobs, because they wouldn't be real jobs, because it's not real. Fuck.
Or be used in the Gateway. That's the spacecraft that will orbit the moon as a home base for astronauts. Creating Australian components on space.
For a home base for astronauts, because in 40, 50 years, nobody's made a space station there on the moon, and you're living in a fantasy world. Why don't you just go and say that we're going to go hook up with the Vulcans, and we're going to go across the universe, and we're going to find another planet? Because this is how fantasy this is. And for you to go and waste $150 million with a government body called NASA, the National Administration of Space Artwork, that's all they are. For you to go and fork out $150 million from taxpayers' money to a fantasy thing that's got billions and billions of dollars that don't seem to do any space travel of their own, I question you as a Prime Minister, and question your brain and where it's at, and whether you really give a shit about the people, which we know you don't. Go on.
And lunar vehicles, or using Australia's experience in mineral exploration on Earth to support...
So you're going to use your experience in raping the Earth here in Australia, which you do, and you're going to go and rape the moon for its minerals and shit that aren't even there. Why don't you go and follow Admiral Byrd? he told you there's heaps of shit in Antarctica, and that's not even 200,000 miles away. That's just down the river there. Why don't you go there and dig shit? Because all of this is bullshit.
Scientific investigations on the moon and Mars. We're pretty good at mining in Australia.
Well, you can go to Mars. Mars is in Ballarat, the Mars factory, so you can go to there. That's attainable. You can achieve that. But all this other shit is just fantasy, and you might as well go and give $150 million to some fucking drug dealer or a gambler and say, here, do whatever you want, back whatever you like, we don't care, because that's all you're doing. So, yeah, thanks for that.
Our space agency will also support Australian companies and research organisations to do work that can support the US mission. And these activities will help us reach our goal.
So really, the US, the NASA program that's been in place for how many years, cannot support itself or do anything itself in all this time to make its own way to the moon. Why do they need $150 million from Australia? Like, what for? Like, this is a sham. People need to wake up.
Of creating 20,000 additional jobs in the Australian space industry by
20,000 additional hand jobs. That's all it is, mate. This is all it is.
2030. And tripling the size of the Australian space sector from $3.9 billion to $12 billion.
Oh, thanks for that, mate. Thanks for doing that. What a legend. There's no other problems you could sort out. You cunts couldn't even get a fast train from Melbourne to Sydney, let alone get a bloody rocket to the moon. Oh, unbelievable. This is what we waste our money on. You know, people jet setting over the world to go and make a speech that we're going to go and commit all our money to overseas shit. Yeah, I don't want to read this shit. It's too much bullshit. People should stop reading this shit. So a special gold Logie was given to astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin in 1970 for the historic moon telecast. Well, that's interesting because it was just a TV show, as we know. I've had enough of this. I can't even look at this dumb-headed motherfucker. See us.